Welcome to Simply's Fantasy Football. This is the 2022 NFL Combine Risers and Fallers. First up, we have our first riser, Chris Olave. After running a sub 4.440, Olave cemented his right to argue he was much more than just the third fiddle in a trio of Ohio State wide receivers. Some had questions as to whether or not a receiver who came back from his senior year could really improve his draft stock. I think Olave managed to do just that, giving GMs in the NFL a tougher time deciding on who they want to let Olave fall to at the end of the first round. Next riser we have Devonta Price. Mel Kiper has been beating the drum on this guy for months, and I think we finally saw why. At the Combine, he was able to show glimpses of his athleticism many didn't know he even possessed. After impressing in the vertical, the 40, and putting on over 10 pounds since the end of the season, Price has sure made a case for himself as a serious NFL running back. Next riser we have on the board is Zamir White. Some call him Zamir, while others call him Zeus, and now I think we see why. After a 4.440, coupled with an outstanding 10'8" broad jump, his injury-riddled past may soon be overlooked by his intangibles. And the scariest thing about Zeus is he's a bigger back with the agility and finesse to make defenders miss and shake their heads. Next up, we have small school product Skye Moore. This small school product has officially arrived. With any questions some may have had about how his game will translate from smaller D1 to the NFL, many have reconsidered their doubts. After running on an impressive 4.4140, Moore's route running seems to give him a leg up on those with only pure speed, seeing as how he provides both speed and route running abilities. And finally, our last riser, we have Mr. Malik Willis. Every year, there's always a quarterback who turns skeptics into believers at the Combine, and that's exactly what Malik Willis did this year. His Wonderlic score was one of the most impressive, and his deep balls were one of the main attractions among quarterbacks at the Combine. I mean, heck, someone even captured this man giving money to the homeless when he didn't know anyone was even looking. His confidence, poise, and intangibles will definitely net him a positive climb up the draft rankings from here until April. Moving on to our fallers. Our first faller is Mr. Isaiah Spiller. The doubts of Spiller's athletic profile translating to the NFL have just been amplified. Whilst he opted to skip the 40, his best bet was to impress in other facets of the Combine. Unfortunately for Spiller, he failed to shine with poor showings in the vertical and the broad jump. His testing most likely regressed his stock from Tier 1 to upper Tier 2 running back prospect heading into the April's draft. Next up, we have Mr. Trelon Burks. Many had speculated that Burks' frame and hands were only 2/3 of the combo that Burks provided, with the third being speed. Unfortunately for Burks, 4.55 didn't scream blazer. Although it's not completely necessary to have a track star running as a wideout, Burks was anticipated to have 4.4 speed as a big man, with a common comp being DK Metcalf. Luckily for him, he tested well in other categories, so the day wasn't a complete blunder, but his 40 time leaves more questions than answers after watching his film from Arkansas. Next up, we have Mr. Kyron Williams. Shifty on tape but slow in a straight line, Kyron Williams' 40 was one of the slowest in class. I mean, 4.65 for a guy who looks that shifty on tape isn't very impressive. Combining his 40 with his below average jumping abilities, Kyron still managed to perform well in the drill portion of the day. Still, with the ability to make men miss, the question scouts now have is, does Williams have the NFL big play ability they thought he might have had before the Combine? And finally, possibly the largest faller, David Bell. Bell can only hope that a coach gets a hold of his game tape this year and forgets about his intangibles he showed at the Combine. Bell is a true gamer who, when asked to perform, showed up. Unfortunately for Bell, his Combine performance didn't mirror his crunch time heroics in college, as he was below the Mendoza line in most categories, especially with his 4.65 40. Bell, now with a chance to slip in drafts, could be an intriguing late day 2 pick with tremendous upside. Let me know what you guys think were the biggest risers and fallers of the Combine, and if I missed anybody, please let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and we'll see you here on the next video. Thanks for watching Simply's Fantasy Football.